Hi, everybody. It's Kristianna Mrjenovich, your Second Chance Queen. And tonight's episode of the Second Chance Queen podcast is going to feature an interview with Isabella Schmidt, who is the co-founder of Jexy, which is an influencer talent management agency, as well as she is the vice president of CEO Chicks and a social media coach. So please join me in welcoming Isabella Schmidt. Welcome to the Second Chance Queen podcast, Bella. I'm super excited to have you on tonight. And I would love to hear in your words what your most pivotal second chance moment looks like.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited about this opportunity, and you're such a light heart to speak with. So, really appreciate that. But I would say I have a few second chances in my life, second chance stories in my life. But I would say one of the most prevalent ones definitely focuses around my career. So I actually went to undergrad for pre-veterinary medicine. Doing nothing in relation to that now. My original plan was to take a gap year, and I ended up like just working in sales. And then COVID hit, and just like so many others, COVID changed a lot of things for a lot of us. So I lost my job for about like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was just scrambling to find anything and everything at that point. Didn't really care what industry, what the position, just something to kind of get me by this weird time that we were living in. And I ended up working in this digital marketing company, got super close with the owner of that. I started doing my own content on social media. And then her and I just got talking, and we were like, it's so much fun to be the creators, but how cool would it be to behind the scenes and manage all those creators and all their brand collabs and everything like that? So took a leap of faith. I was 24 at the time, knew nothing about business, nothing about anything in regards to that really, and just jumped right in and we started it. And we're going to be about 4 years into Jexy in October. And that, I mean, could not have changed my life anymore if I tried, honestly. Like, it has shaped me into who I am. It played a big part into who I've become over these past 4 years. Have the blessing of my wonderful sister who works for us too, and just such an amazing company that we've been able to build. And I feel like if that didn't happen, I totally would be in a different spot. And I feel like it gave me the second chance, so to speak, to really find what my true passions are without growing up and people trying to guide me thinking, oh, you love animals, oh, this and that. And I still do. I'm so passionate about that. And we've been able to intertwine that into the business. But this is something that I don't think ever would have happened if the cards didn't play out the way that they did.
I love that. And you are actually the very first professional second chance I think I've had the opportunity to interview. So that is super cool. I love your pivot, and I want to bring up someone that's kind of your co-star, I'd say, in a way, and that is Archie.
Yes.
How does it feel to combine Archie with, you do have that background, like you said, in kind of veterinary medicine and that love
Yeah.
of animals. So how does it feel to get to kind of combine both of those passions together?
It is the best thing in the world. It's so much fun. I find myself like, I feel like I almost got my creative spark back when it comes to making content, being able to film him. And he is such a knack for the camera. It's like not even funny. Immediately, my dad was the first one to take a picture of him, and he sat there and like posed and was ready to do his thing. It's so much fun. And I am so blessed that he loves it just as much as I do, I think. And I think it brought back that. I used to ride horses growing up, so I think it brought back that passion of having that animal to constantly care for. And I think it's just everybody else is also eating it up. Him being a part of my content and everything. So it's honestly just so much fun. I love him.
He's a golden retriever, right?
He is, yes.
I have two of them, and I know what you mean by like they're natural with cameras. I can't tell you how many ridiculous videos I have of both of my Goldens. They're such hams.
Oh my God, they're so funny. The poses that I catch him in, I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're doing, but it's working.
Now, something that I love about your role with Jexy and something that is kind of opposite of the guests that I have on this podcast a lot of the time. You're actually my first non-pageant queen
No way,
podcast
really?
guest. So, yeah, so I'm excited about that. I love the opportunities and how the podcast is branching out. But when you're talking a lot with pageant queens, we like the spotlight. I mean, that's where we're at. Much like influencers and, that realm. So it's really cool to talk to someone that's kind of on the other side, that's on that production side and that talent management side, and that you've found your own stardom essentially in helping others reach their goals. So I think that's really cool that you're in that line of work and able to provide that resource for them.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Speaking of your clients, is there any talent that you have right now that you're super excited for and that you think maybe we'll be seeing a lot more of?
Ooh, that is an amazing question. First, I love all of my talent. The thing that I love most about all of them is they're all so unique. Even if they're in similar niches, they all bring something so unique and so different to the table. But I think somebody that we had the absolute pleasure of starting with on his journey and seeing him grow and seeing where he's at now, Joy Williamson, the Williamson Dad is his handle across all platforms. He has grown so much, not just on his social platforms, but his paid collaborations and just everything that he does. But in the midst of all that, he has remained one of the most humble and kind human beings I've ever met in my life. He's actually expecting another set of twin girls pretty soon within these next couple days.
Whoa.
Yes. So lots of amazing things for him to come. And I'm just so happy and excited to see his journey unfold from he was originally like in the sports director world at his son's school. And now he does content creation full time with his wife and his family. So just seeing all of that come together and knowing the amazing things that we're going to continue to do together is one of the greatest blessings that I could honestly ever ask for. So.
Well, shout out to him. I'm super excited for him. What advice would you give to someone that is wanting to make it big? I feel like everybody in this day and age wants to be an influencer or content creator. You see all the millions of videos on TikTok where people are like, help me get to 10K.
Yeah.
So, what is the biggest piece of advice that you'd give someone that was looking to break into that industry? And at what point should they be speaking to you at Jexy?
First and foremost, and actually the most important thing, is why do you want to get into the space? What is your purpose behind driving these platforms? Because it's great, grow following, make money off of it. But what creates the longevity is somebody that has the passion for what they're doing. So, do you want to teach people something? Are you trying to inspire them? Are you trying to just be a vulnerable light in a difficult position and show people that they can get through the same thing that you're going through? So, asking yourself why you're getting into it, and then always go back to your own personal uniqueness. I always say people want to follow people that they feel like they can relate to and people that they feel like they would have a relationship outside of social media, that if they saw them on the street, they would immediately get along with. So, what do you bring to that table that's different than somebody else? And being raw and real. Like, honestly, nobody wants to follow your quote unquote cookie cutter influencer anymore. That's just like posting the glamorized versions of their life. They want to see the vulnerability. They want to see your house being a mess. They want to see the chaos behind being a mom, having 3 kids, a dog, a husband, and a full time job. They want to see all that craziness. So, making sure that you're bringing that to light and then always engaging back with your audience. Always remember, no matter how big you get, you wouldn't be there without your community. So making sure that you are constantly commenting back, you're in the DMs, you're making your audience feel just as special as they make you feel, because that's how you create those long-term relationships.
I think that advice is super helpful, especially for those new content creators, because something I've noticed in just people that I've been following recently is people will get lucky and kind of have that one video that goes viral, and you follow them because they have that big viral video, and then they start to make content and it's not cohesive. There's no common thread that keeps you going back to their page. And I think that's what a lot of the major creators that we're seeing on social media, they're pretty consistent with their brand. Their brand is who they are, and they're consistently posting that same type of content. So I think that advice, I mean, you're the professional, so of course you know what I'm talking about. But I can, from a consumer standpoint, absolutely see exactly what you're saying, because then you wonder, you go, why did I follow this person?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So that's a huge key piece of advice. And when should someone start looking to come to you at Jexy thinking, maybe they're ready for representation? What type of threshold does that look like for your company?
Yeah, I would say the biggest portion of when you feel like you're ready for management is you're getting a huge influx of inquiries from brands. The biggest thing that we get a lot of new creators coming to us and saying is, I don't know how to advocate for myself. I don't know how to negotiate. I don't know how much I should be charging, how little I should be charging. So that would be the biggest thing. You're getting a lot of inquiries from brands, but you don't know how to negotiate with them, because that's where a biggest portion of what we do comes into play is let us advocate for you. I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with like asking for more money, which is totally understandable. It's kind of a weird thing to do, but that's what we're here to do, is advocate for you, make sure you're getting paid what you're worth, because what a lot of people don't see is the behind the scenes of these creators, and it is not a typical 9 to 5. Like, they are working weird hours, they are spending hours upon hours editing the content that you watch for like 30 seconds. It's a lot of work. It is a full-time job on top of all the other hats that they wear in their life. So let us be that advocate for you so that we can get you top dollar and get you paid what you're worth, because let's be real, time is money. So everybody's got to get paid what they're worth, right? So
Time is definitely money. What would you say is your favorite type of influencer for you to see?
me personally, I'm a big lifestyle niche girly. I love following, I follow a lot of other women around my age, a little bit older, and a little bit less, that are just kind of, again, we all want to follow people that we relate to. So I like following those people that are kind of in the same stage of life as me, and seeing the type of content that they create. I'm a big like morning vlog person. So I love watching people's morning routines, seeing how early and crazy they're getting up early in the morning has actually motivated me to get up earlier. Shout out to them. Um, but definitely the lifestyle, because I think the lifestyle also encompasses like so many aspects of your life. So anything from them like caring for their dog to going to their corporate job to going to random events at night, just like things like that. I would say that's definitely probably my favorite niche to.
Do you believe, as a talent manager, that there is such thing as oversaturation of a niche?
That is such a good question. I don't think there's necessarily so much an oversaturation. I think it's making yourself stand out throughout that saturation. It's kind of like, I kind of think about it in regards to like music genres. Like, there's so many country artists and there's so many rappers and there's so many pop artists, but why does Taylor Swift stand out so much? Because look at her. I mean, she's created top song after top song, and she's like doing all these awesome things. So what are you doing in the midst of your own niche that's making you stand out to not just your community, but brands and just any consumer that's watching your content, that's going to make them watch your content versus someone that's like you?
That is a great answer to that question. I love hearing that. As someone who's in the process of kind of finding my own niche, that's a good tidbit to hear, because I've kind of looked around and I know exactly what I want to do, but finding the way to do that doesn't feel like a copy and paste of someone else's style is difficult. And I think that's one of the hardest things with content creation is you see a million vlogs and you see a million of this, and you kind of get that imposter syndrome, like, well,
Hmm.
why would somebody want to watch me? What makes my life different? And then I have to stop and remind myself, like, girl, you're a pageant queen that runs 4 businesses, has 3 kids, has two
Mic
dogs,
drop.
hosts a podcast,
Doing it
is about to
all
start a nonprofit, like, yeah, doing all the things. Like, people would probably love to see the chaos that goes on behind this camera.
100%. Like, there's no one else doing and juggling all the things that you're doing. And that's the stuff that you need to share, you know?
So, what would you say is the most memorable second chance that you've either given or received?
Wow. That is such a big question. I would say, let me think about that for a second. The biggest second chance I've given or received. I would say, honestly, going very personal, just gonna be very vulnerable on my end for a minute. I had a very hard, rough and tough, toxic relationship when I when I was a sophomore in college that lasted for about a year and a half, and it really like separated me from my family and my friends, as a lot of women experience in those kinds of relationships. And I very much distanced myself from the people that are my people that make me who I am. And coming out of that relationship was definitely, in a sense, almost harder than being in the actual relationship itself, because I had to repair a lot of those relationships. But luckily for me, I am so blessed that I have such amazing family members and such amazing friends that were instantly there for me and didn't question any piece of that. So I feel like if I didn't have that, it would have been a lot harder for me to claw myself back. And I feel like I was really given that second chance, because not a lot of people have that when they come out of those relationships, unfortunately. And I feel like my family and my friends allowed me a space to heal even faster than I probably would have if I didn't have that, and definitely contributed to a big factor of who I am today. So I would definitely say that for sure.
I absolutely am so inspired by that answer. As someone who my entire platform is built on domestic violence, that's where the name Second Chance Queen came from. That's why all of this developed, was because of my second chance restarting my life after domestic abuse. So hearing that aspect of it, though, that is a side of domestic abuse, domestic violence, toxic relationships that I hadn't truly thought of as a second chance in that way, about having to repair those relationships after that isolation. That's a really important thing, I think, to highlight, because so often we talk about the healing process after those relationships end, and we talk so much about what we're going through. And a lot of people don't mention the toll that it takes on their friends and family and repairing those relationships while you're healing yourself.
Exactly.
So I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that, because there's someone out there that feels less alone because you did, and that's super brave. So thank you for sharing that with us. Would you say that that is the big event that you would say is the catalyst for you being resilient?
Definitely, 100%. That made me, I mean, that made me have to be strong. You know what I mean? It made me have to put my foot down and stand up for myself and know when I'm not being treated right, and be willing to walk away from someone, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, whatever kind of relationship it is. It really made me realize my own self worth, and that my own inner peace was not worth what this person was getting out of hurting me, essentially. So it definitely made me extremely resilient. And I think honestly gave me a little bit of the big courage I had to like jump off the deep end and start a business out of nowhere that I knew nothing about what I was doing. And it definitely gave me a lot of courage to just not be afraid to speak up and speak out and just be who I am. That is what it is.
I think that's really important and a major catalyst for resilience for a lot of women. So it's definitely inspiring to hear someone who is a vice president and a co founder of these major organizations being so honest and vulnerable with your experiences with toxic relationships and how it kind of formed your resiliency. If women needed inspiration or light at the end of the tunnel, I think every woman needs that. But if I was to find your tunnel, what would that inspiration be at the very end waiting for me?
I would say just do what you want to do. I think I was very lucky that I grew up in a household where my parents put so much time and energy into me and my siblings to remind us to be passionate about what we're doing. And I'm so blessed now to say that I wake up every day excited to do my job and excited to be the VP of the nonprofit at CEO Chicks that I am, and help other women grow their businesses. So I would just say, just do what you want. It's scary, yes, Nothing about growth is uncomfortable. It's like a kid having growing pains when they're getting taller. Like it's the same thing. So it's not going to be easy. Might not even, it might feel awkward. People are going to second guess you 1,000%. You're going to get so many people like, why are you doing this? Do you really think you can do that? Let that fuel you to prove them wrong. So I feel like if somebody comes to my page and just talks to me or looks at my stuff or anything like that, I think that's the biggest thing. Just don't second guess yourself. Be your own personal advocate and do whatever you think is best. Yeah, you're probably going to make a bunch of mistakes along the way. We're all human, we all do, but learn from those mistakes and allow yourself to grow and become better for them. And just do it. Like, seriously, this is not a Nike ad, by the way, but like, seriously, just do it. Like, get out there, start the business, move to the city that you want to move to. I did that almost a year ago when my last relationship ended. And I was like, I've always wanted to move to Fort Lauderdale. I'm just going to do it. Like, there's no reason for me not to. So that's exactly what I did. I wanted a dog. I got that itch. So I got a dog. You just have to like, to a certain extent of knowing what you're capable of, just do what you feel like is best for your growth and for your future life ahead and for your future family too, thinking about how you want your kids to view you and your future grandchildren and everything like that.
I think that that is advice that will really help a large range of people. It's something that I say over and over again, but hearing that, and also there's so many micro second chances in your story. And I think so many people have these and don't realize it's, moving to a new city, starting a new business. They're all these small second chances that kind of pivot the direction of your life. And I feel like your story really resonates with me because something that I've noticed about how the universe kind of works, and it sounds like it worked very similar with you, is once you find your purpose and once you know what you're meant to do, doors open in that situation. It's like the universe, when you're listening to it and you're following the path that is meant for you, doors will open, and they will open much easier than if you're trying to force yourself down a path that's not meant for you. And I think people need to hear that and understand that if the doors aren't opening, there's a reason for that. You might be in the wrong hallway.
Oh my gosh, I could not agree more with that. Like, so true. Like, what's meant for you is going to happen, and it's not going to be a push and pull situation.
100%. That is the biggest thing that I found is when I started paying attention to what was meant for me and what felt natural, it was like, this is easy. They say good things are hard, and it takes hard work sometimes, but ultimately the doors will open. You're not pulling at door handles that won't open for you. My husband says all the time, it's crazy how many doors open for you. And I'm like, because I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I'm aware and I see them opening, so I'm just going to walk on through.
If it cracks, I'm pulling on the handle. Hello.
I love that.
But I love that about your story too, is that you are following a very similar path. You found your calling through COVID and the unfortunate circumstances, and now doors have opened for you. So that's really exciting. And I'd love to hear more about the nonprofit that you mentioned. We've talked a little bit about Jexy, but I would love to hear more about CEO Chicks.
Absolutely. So, CEO Chicks is a nonprofit, and we help women in business elevate their businesses. So, all women entrepreneurs, regardless of what you're doing, what you're selling, we help give you all the tools and resources that you need to be as successful as possible. I think the hardest thing as a woman in business is finding a network of women that understand what you're doing. So that's exactly what we've built. And that's the community that we have, all very like minded individuals centered around our faith and our spirituality to guide us through what we're supposed to do, and coming together and being in that like minded situation with one another helps each other to grow, bounce ideas, and do things that maybe you can't talk with other people in your life just because they don't understand. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's important to have that circle of women that truly elevate you and push you to do the best that you can in your business. So that's exactly what we do.
Love the concept of that. I have not heard of CEO chicks, and you better believe that I will be going down a complete rabbit hole after this podcast episode to look into it, because as someone who's running 4 businesses simultaneously and a woman,
You get it.
I need to find myself on the CEO chicks page.
Yes, definitely.
I will be looking at that for sure. I think it's a much needed resource. Something that I've noticed about you since I met you at Luxstyle Fashion Week at Miami Swim Week was you radiate confidence. And confidence is a huge part of my platform, because I think with every great self growth story, there's an acknowledgement of self-worth and self-confidence that comes with that, especially with those of us that do leave domestic abuse type situations or toxic relationships. We have to essentially rebuild ourselves completely afterwards, and confidence is a huge aspect of that successful rebuilding and rebranding. So I would love to hear what your definition of confidence is.
What is my definition of confidence? I think it has nothing to do with looks. It has to do with the intention that you have with every room that you walk into. Standing up tall. Even, I mean, I get so nervous going to networking events still, especially if I'm by myself, but I'm like, you know what? It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to meet amazing people that you would never meet elsewhere. So you got to just be a big girl, put your big girl pants on, and walk into that room like you know exactly what you're doing, and just start going up to people and talking and just be yourself. Like, just truly be yourself, because that is your biggest superpower, is being who you are. And if you're confident in who you are and what you have to offer the world, then everything else is just going to come alongside with that. And everybody is special and unique in their own specific way. So radiate off of that and take advantage of that, because use that as your moment to be.
Absolutely. I think my favorite thing that I heard you just say out of that definition, and a word that I haven't heard with confidence yet, and this is a question I ask with every episode, is intention. Intention is such a powerful word, and relating intention to confidence is literally genius. So thank you for that, because I love that perspective. You also hit on a point that I talk about, and with almost every episode, I've developed a self-confidence building method. Ironically, it's named the SELF method, my acronym. So I would love to tell you the 4 components of it and see which one resonates with you the most. So the first one is self-care prioritized for S, because you have to take care of yourself to have a basis for being confident. Exercise your skills, because practice makes progress. So you have to know what skills you need and what you're trying to improve on to be confident. Listen to positivity, because oftentimes we all have that kind of negative voice in our head. So the more we listen to positivity and take compliments as well as ignoring the negative that we get, it's just easier with positive affirmations and mindset. And the final one, which I think you might like, is called Fake It Till You Make It, and You Will. Because so many times, like you just said, we're nervous and we have the skills, we have what it takes, but we have that imposter syndrome kick in, or we have that moment of self-doubt, and we've got to just kind of push through it and fake it, and then we get in that rhythm and it kind of goes from there. So which aspect of that do you find to be the most important and one that resonates with you the most?
Right now in this season of life, I actually resonate with the self care one 100%, which is very different for me to say. I feel like anybody that knows me probably would not expect me to say that. But over the past probably like just month or two, very as of recently, I've been pouring into my own cup a lot more than I used to. And something that I've come to realize and why I have changed that is I realized if I don't pour into my own cup, I can't pour into the people who need me on a day to day basis. And I think that was something that was the biggest thing, especially as a woman in business, that I was lacking. I was so worried about helping everybody else and being the first one there to answer a question and doing this and doing that, not just in business, but in my personal life too. And recently I've discovered like, if I keep going like that, I'm going to burn myself out. And I need to take care of myself just as much as I take care of everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because if I do that, then I can show up for everybody else even better than I have been. But whatever, for me personally, that means taking at least 1 hour every day. I really love Pilates, so I do that first thing every morning, and that's my me time. My phone is nowhere to be found, so I am focused on my body and being intentional with my body and putting that health aspect into it too. So I think definitely the self-care one for sure.
I think that one, it does get overlooked a lot, and it shouldn't be because it's the first step in the method, but I think you hit the nail on the head. And I always call self-care the oxygen mask, because there's a reason when you're on a plane they tell you to put your mask on before you help others, because it
Yes.
won't do anybody any good if you don't have that oxygen. So a lot of times, especially when we're women that are going a million miles an hour and accomplishing big things and helping and empowering others, we forget, we're so invested in our worth in assisting others and bringing others up that we kind of lack on that self-care. And that's a hard lesson that I've had to learn the same way, is if I'm not taking care of myself and practicing that self-care, I go stagnant and it feels like I can't grow anymore. So
Exactly.
I love that you said that. And you answered my next question, which is, what is your favorite form of self-care? So we know Pilates. I love that.
I love Pilates. It's so much fun.
I've never done Pilates, but I've heard such great things about it. I really should try it.
Highly recommend. I grew up, my brother and my dad, they're so into the gym and the weightlifting, and I've done it. I try it, I do it, but I don't like it. Like, it's so boring. I'm like, I feel like I'm like dreading going because I'm like, okay, let me go lift these weights again. But like Pilates is just so much more fun. Plus, I have somebody telling me what to do, so I don't have to think about it.
Such a real point. I think I could benefit from that because I'm usually the one giving directions as
Yeah,
well. So I
it's
could use
refreshing.
somebody telling me what to do. Yeah, that sounds really relaxing,
Yeah,
actually.
highly recommend.
Where would you like to see yourself in years?
Ooh, in 5 years.
Yeah.
I would love, obviously, to see Jexy grow. That's the number one thing. We have such big plans for Jexy, and I know it's going to be huge. Like, there's zero doubt in my mind that we are reaching for the stars and we are going to touch them. So I think it's going to be exponentially larger than what it is. Personally, I feel like I'm ready for some more like personal growth over the next 5 years. And in a sense of, I'm ready to like find love again. I'm ready to start thinking about a family, do things like that for myself. So I think between the two, there could be pretty some awesome things going on, but stay tuned. We'll see.
I am excited to watch this journey and see what plays out over the next 5 years, because then I'll be messaging you like, I heard it first. Heard it first. I definitely think Jexy is going to be a major thing. Number one, the name is super catchy. Is there a story behind the name?
Yeah, so when we first started, there was a bunch of people that we were starting it off with that had like J as their first name. And then not only that, more importantly than that, we wanted like it to sound sexy, but like not in your face sexy. You know what I mean? So we were like,
Yeah.
sexy, like that vibes very well. And it just like, I don't know, it all just kind of came together.
Jexy sounds really good. I love the name and I cannot wait to see where Jexy goes. And I'd love to know if there was a dream influencer that Jexy was going to acquire. Is there someone that would just be the top for you to see come to your agency?
Oh boy. There's so many amazing influencers that I love. And this one is probably going to be a little bit strange because she's has her own business and does her own thing. So I don't know if it would ever come to this fruition, but hey, you never know. She might need help on the brand side of things at one point. Alex Cooper, I don't know if you follow her, watch her
Heard of
podcast.
Alex Cooper?
Been died hard since the beginning. Love her. She's also a very big woman advocate in business and everything that she does. But she, I mean, she for lack of better terms, she's just a badass. And I think she's insane about doing everything that she's been doing, insane in an amazing way. So if she ever needed some help, the door is wide open for her to come on through.
I absolutely love that. That is, Alex, you heard it. We're
Yeah,
doxing
right
her.
here.
I love that. We're manifesting. Other than myself, what famous person or influencer would you designate an honorary second chance queen to join my ranks, and why?
I would say, and this is going to sound like such a strange answer and maybe a little off base for a lot of people, but someone that's actually inspired me out of everything that she's changed about her life is Miley Cyrus. I love her. I have been number one fan since day one. And everybody knows her journey, of course. It was literally blasted everywhere. Disney star from Hannah Montana, RIP Hannah Montana stage, Wrecking Ball, all that stuff. But she has taken all of that and truly created the optimal second chance for herself. And she has become such a light, an amazing person. She got out of a very awful relationship as well. And I feel like now she just inspires so many women and just people in general to, again, radiate who they are, have that self confidence, and not to stray away from that. So definitely her. Yeah.
Welcome to the ranks, Smiley. I love that. I'm honestly surprised it's taken this long to get her in there too, because I've had women in that realm and nobody has taken the plunge. So I
He's
love
the
that.
best. So
Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you really want them to hear? Any piece of advice, any parting message that you'd love for the listeners to hear?
I would just say the biggest thing, and something that I even still struggle with sometimes, don't let anybody dim your light. Like, truly. I mean, no matter what hardships you go through, no matter what's going on personally or work related, you were put on this planet for a reason, and you were meant to touch other people for a reason, whatever that reason may be. It's different for everybody, but let your light shine as bright as it possibly can. Like, truly, like, don't let anybody take that away from you. And if they do, let them go. They're not meant to be in your life. They don't deserve that spot there. So just be who you are, and by being who you are, the right people will come to you, and you will create the most amazing community that you could ever imagine.
I think that is the best possible advice and something that I think more people need to live by. So, thank you for sharing that today. Thank you so much for listening to tonight's episode of the Second Chance Queen podcast with the incredible Bella Schmidt. She is involved in so many incredible things. I love watching Archie, and I can't wait to see how his story continues to grow. And if you are an influencer looking for talent management, Jexy is absolutely the way to go. You would be in the best hands. And I know I will definitely be looking at CEO Chicks after this conversation. So follow Bella, her story, and all things Jexy and CEO Chicks, and let's see what we can accomplish together and what she has planned for in the future. My name is Kristianna Mrjenovich, the Second Chance Queen and host of the Second Chance Queen podcast. And remember, you always have a second chance. You just have to be willing to take it.